Welcome everybody to the first Digital Marketing Meetup webinar, where we're supporting the local community and sharing business development tips with our peers. First of all, I hope that you're all keeping safe and well during the lockdown. It's fairly unprecedented times for us all, and very uncertain as well. I've been asked by the Digital Greenhouse just to say that if you have a topic that you'd like to cover in one of these sessions, I know that the Digital Greenhouse team are currently looking for speakers for the next event, which will be in June. So please do get in touch with them. One other final point is that please note that attendees have no video or audio access. So if you've got any questions during the presentation, please post them in the chat and I'll take a look at the end of the session. We will be recording this session, this presentation, and we'll share it afterwards for those of you who couldn't attend, or if you want to watch it again at a later date. Thanks again for joining us today, and let's get on with the webinar on video marketing, which I think is all the more relevant in these unprecedented times. Video has never really been part of traditional PR, but everything has changed. From a marketing perspective, we're dealing with a completely different integrated landscape. And today we're going to discuss what kinds of videos you can use in your marketing. We're going to talk about measurement and highlight some successful video campaigns, both abroad and locally as well. I was going to show you all, and I hope to try and get a show of hands for anyone who's used a video in a campaign, but that was when we were all originally going to meet at the Digital Greenhouse. So unfortunately I can't do that, but if you want to send me a chat message just saying that you've used video in the past, then that'll be great. Okay, I'll just click next, there we go. But first of all, a little bit about Orchard. We're a public relations consultancy. We're based in Guernsey, but we're the biggest across the Crown Dependencies, and we have clients in the Isle of Man, Jersey and Guernsey. We offer a broad range, focusing particularly on financial services and public affairs, consumer and brand and corporate reputation. And we've got a team of about 14 people at the moment who are working across all spectrum areas of the communication spectrum. And then a little bit about me. I used to work for the BBC as a video journalist for many years. And I focus there really on engagement with the target audience, storytelling, and now I'm the digital content director for Orchard. I, in a way, tell stories on behalf of our clients. And I focus on communications through public relations with aiming for engagement, really, by building trust and adding value. And I do that through the use of content. And of course, in my case, specifically digital content. Now, let's have a look at some of the reasons for video. Well, the first one is the landscape. The internet is permeating everything. If you look at some of these statistics, some of them are some of the latest from the Office for National Statistics. You can see that virtually all households in Great Britain have got access to the internet. But interestingly for me is the smartphone figures. Almost 80% of people across the British Isles have used a smartphone to access the internet. So you've got people there who can feed video to, very much so. And I think a very interesting statistic there as well is the forecast from Cisco that 82% of internet traffic this year is video. So 82% of all the internet traffic they forecast will be video. And there's real opportunities there. It will be interesting to see how at the end of this year, whether they will revise that figure. Some could argue it might go up because of the increase in use of video, particularly people now having to think differently and creatively during lockdown in trying to get some of their messages out there. But it really does present an opportunity. This is a rapidly expanding audience and it's fueling growth and demand from advertisers because watching more video content obviously presents an opportunity to reach people with brand building videos. And in a way, online videos are now on TV. I don't know about you, but certainly for me, we use streaming services at home, Netflix, iPlayer, ITV Hub, and they're all serving brands to consumers via the connected television sets, which is, of course, a growing industry as well. And we're already seeing some of those videos, even at a local level. And I'm just going to play one now for you that popped up. I was watching, I don't know what it was, some drama series, box set binging, and this advert popped up on my TV via a streaming platform.
To have a voice, voters must sign up at election2020.gg.
Count me in.
Count me in.
Count me in.
Count me in.
So yeah, I mean, obviously the election is going to be slightly delayed now, but that's just one example of videos that are now reaching even a local audience via a different medium to what we're used to otherwise. Reason number 2, video does improve rankings. Google is obviously the biggest search engine. I think we're always vying to try and rank fairly well with them. But the search engine algorithms, they're changing all the time. And ultimately though, a search engine is mainly concerned about giving back a great experience to its users. So if we can ensure that the content that we're providing to the target audience is relevant to them, Google tends to lean in your favor there. And of course, Google owns YouTube, which is the second most visited website on the internet. And it really does affect the search rankings. For example, when we're uploading videos to YouTube for ourselves or for clients, we always make sure we use tags because some people we've noticed don't use the tags, and that really limits the scope and the reach for that video. It's a bit like kind of hashtags, but Google are using it and YouTube using its kind of ways of categorizing videos as well. And it's a really important part of your search engine optimization. And Google have actually said recently that if you can send them a video sitemap, that can really help them. And they can, obviously, if you can help them, then they can promote your content even more. Reason number 3, video is very targeted. We've used this to a great effect for our clients, where you can ultimately pinpoint the audience, particularly with some of the social media platforms. You can choose job titles, locations, what they're interested in, what they've been viewing in the past. And that's really powerful way of getting in front of your target audience. And by using hashtags and tagging other people and companies in the video posts, you can reach a much wider audience. And then reason number 4 is that video is very easy to measure. It's instant. This morning, for example, I asked one of my colleagues to give me an update on a video that we put up a couple of days ago, and we had results instantly. And it's accurate. We know when people are clicking, we know how long they're watching videos for. And it's also a really good way of going back to the clients, so you can demonstrate the value of investing in the video in the first place. This picture that you can see on the right, this was some statistics that we took a while ago for, I think it was our internal show reel. And you can see it shows the breakdown of people and how many people it's reached. And a key one for me, which I'll talk about in a later slide, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just circling, hopefully it's not too pixelated, is the number of through plays. And that's on Facebook, and it basically tells you how many people have watched the video all the way through, which in this day and age, I'm pleasantly surprised at, because I know that people are very busy, and that not everybody will watch an entire video all the way through. But it's a good measurement tool. We can see how many people we've reached and how much each of those through plays has cost. I'll come back more onto, I suppose, the cost of promoting and boosting videos shortly. If I go to the next slide. And now this is very pertinent. Video can also really help give you control in a crisis, and you can manage that crisis on your own channels, on your own social media platforms and your website. And this was just a video that I'll play. I mean, I'll cut it after a while because it does go on a bit, but it really does illustrate. This was literally the day before we were all meant to meet at the digital greenhouse, or a couple of days before. And it was at a time when we were all still flying, just before COVID really got going and before the lockdown, of course. And we were all thinking at the time, oh, is it safe to fly on the planes? Are they clean? And this is from Emirates, who obviously had a way of using video to try and communicate what they were doing. I'll just stop that there, but it just gave you a good flavor. Obviously, you can see why video sometimes is more important than words, because people then really were wanting to see the cleaning in action. It's more believable. I probably wouldn't have necessarily gone with the Hollywood style music, but but there we go. And that video, I think, well, I had a check a week or so ago. It had over 1 million views on Emirates channel. So just a really good way of illustrating how you can control a crisis through video on your own channels. And reason number 6, video can be surprisingly affordable. This that we can see on the right-hand side is an example of a young chap called Sam Culverwell, who's a cyclist, and he is sponsored by Practice IFM, and he won the Rising Star Award at the Channel Islands Sports Personality of the Year Awards. And we're seeing that, I mean, this took me about an hour to film, probably double that in the edit. And we spent £15 to boost it. And this video got, within a short space of time, 5,000 views, the majority of which were in St. Peter Port, which was exactly what we wanted. And I'd argue that's a fairly decent return on investment, certainly when you compare it to the costs of placing an advert in some of the local media. So it can really, really be cost effective and is an inexpensive and very targeted form of advertising. And that's where we feel that the media landscape has changed the most, is in that paid media area. But yeah, this was a great example of getting a really good return for that. And its low distribution costs. I'll just go on next. Got some more people joining. Hold on. But it doesn't always have to be a video. I'm going to play another short clip now. I won't play it all the way through, just enough to give you a flavour. This was a video we did for the Guernsey Housing Association in the form of a whiteboard explainer and a graphic. And I'll talk a bit about the cost of boosting this and the return that they got for this one as well. So yeah, that's just a little flavour of a different kind of video. I'll just click next. And then here are the statistics from that video, or some of them at least. And we spent we spent on their behalf £10 to boost that video. And up here, I don't know if you can see me circling that again, is the through plays. And that means that 796 people, or it has been played all the way through 796 times, which is a really, really positive result. And that's the numbers that we reached for this one. Of course, we targeted people mainly in Guernsey, well, in fact, all in Guernsey. And then there's more stats on the left. You can see the peak in their video activity from when we published that video. So yeah, £10 to get that result from boosting it we felt, and it was also their most engaged piece of content that they've ever put out. So yeah, can be really effective. And then I suppose I do come up across some of these quite a lot. Some of the myths that I have to battle against is too expensive, time consuming, and all that. And many people do think it is too expensive to hire a film crew and editors, and that the process can be too long and can be complicated. But thanks to technology, one person can often film and edit it, and all in a very, very small time frame. I spent many years, as I said, as a video journalist, and I had to get out, film and edit essentially a 3-minute video within 6 hours to a decent standard. And it can be done, and it can be done at a relatively low cost. Authentic content, though, is also highly, highly engaging. And we're seeing people are after more of a personal rather than a polished video. And people are caring more about the authenticity rather than the visual effects and all the rest of it. So much so that we're now getting some demand, and we're providing smartphone courses for people so they can film themselves to a reasonably high standard. You know, as long as it's a really good idea, there's no reason why it can't be a great success. And it doesn't always have to end up as a corporate video. And in fact, the next video I think is a great video personally, because it just highlights the power of a good idea. I'll talk about the resources after you've seen it, but just have a look at this video. I will play it all the way through. It's not long, but I think it's a really, really effective video.
Oh, hi, can I help?
Hot chocolate.
What's the name?
Joelle.
What was the name?
Alex.
Alex. There you go, Johnny.
Cheers.
If you like our Facebook page, we give you a free hot drink and a free pastry.
We have a new like for Damien. We have a new like for Damien.
Hey, Carly, are you standing by?
Standing by. Hi there, can I help?
Yeah, I just liked your Facebook page.
Okay, I'll search Facebook now.
I'm searching Google.
Have a phone number.
I've got his email address.
Okay, Carly, are you ready for information on Damien?
Yep, I am.
Mother's maiden name is he banks with
Carly, this is the girl coming in now with the blue scarf.
What's her name? Nicholas.
Nicola. His date of birth, 7th May. She lives at 38A.
Just be a couple of seconds.
2 children, age 4 and 6. Previous address. She's got the postcode.
Yep, got it. Damien, age 26 and a fitness instructor.
How do you know that?
Brody, who goes to UCL. Martin, who went to South Thames College. Assistant psychologist at Great Ormond Street. How did you know?
That is... I don't understand.
Oh, better.
You know I'm a Christian as well.
Oh, yeah, we know everything about you, Martin. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Anna from Russia.
So yeah, that video, really, really strong idea. But from a practical perspective, I'm always looking at it from the filming side. Probably a couple of cameras locked off in the corners of the room, hidden away. A couple of cameras outside filming through the windows. Obviously, you had the team, and it would need researching the whole concept. But in terms of actually executing that video on the day, wouldn't have been that expensive. And to get a really authentic and thought-provoking video out of it, I think it was a great result. Okay, and then we're going to go on to reason number 8. More and more people now expect video. It's the stat there, 60% of marketeers create at least one piece of content each day. It's now the preferred media content used for blogs, in fact, over blogs and infographics. And things like Instagram now, there are people are expecting and to grow their audience through having regular updates. And you can repurpose a good blog into a video. I don't think you should repurpose every blog, but once again, if it's an initial good idea, then there's no reason why you can't turn that into a video. And we often have content plans for our clients, and there's nothing particularly special about those. It can be things like, for example, it's National Mental Health Day, or it's International Safer Internet Day. And we did something recently on Safer Internet Day with one of our clients. And at first, everyone was like, oh yeah, here we go again, just another day of people being urged to remember to be safe online. And we just thought a bit differently. We thought, well, why don't we try and, it's aimed at children, why don't we try and get into a primary school in Guernsey, speak to some of the children, find out, empower them. Why do they like the internet? You know, don't scare them. Let's try and actually flip it the other way. And then we got one of our clients who was an expert in that area, who then ended up going on to BBC Guernsey and Jersey to help answer questions, did a phone-in with parents and people like that. And sometimes that can really help. And we did a video of him as well, and of the children. And it was just really nice to see, and a really good example of how a content plan, if you're organized enough in advance, you can turn video around in time for those events as well. And then reason number 9, we feel that video offers a lot of variety. I mean, I think a lot of people go, oh, right, got to do video. What should we do it on? Well, there's lots of ways you can use it. Onboarding can be used for new team members joining to help them settle in. It can be used for events, whether that be corporate events, community events. Obviously, you've got your more traditional corporate videos, explainer videos, which are really effective at breaking down confusing or complicated issues. And they help your audience better understand why they need your product or your service, or your client's product or their service. And they often would focus some of those explainer videos on a kind of a fictional journey of the company's core buyer who's struggling with a problem. Then this person magically overcomes the issue by adopting or buying the business's solution. And then case studies, they can be really powerful, and testimonials. If you can get someone on camera describing the challenge that they were facing and how your company or your service or your client's company or service helped them to solve that, that can be really effective. And then, of course, live streaming has come into its own during the lockdown. We're obviously relying on that a lot, and I think I'm probably competing. I think there's probably a government live stream going on now, perhaps in Guernsey and Jersey, I don't know, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But yeah, lots of ways that you can use videos as ways of getting messages out. And then ultimately, videos try and tell stories, and we always try and be as creative as we can. We don't always think, oh yeah, this is what's been brought to us, let's just do a video on it. We just try and think of the best idea, and then from that everything else is spawned. And I've always said that the best content will come from the best ideas, and sometimes you don't necessarily have that much to go on. It can feel very corporate, like, what am I going to do with this? And we try and then sort of really get in the minds of the target audience and what they're looking for. And there are tools out there which we use where you can find out what people, particularly the target audience, what they're actually searching for. And then we can then incorporate that into the videos and into the content, and then link it to what we found from our research. And we found that can be a really effective way of connecting with the all-important target audience. This is just a little summary of our 10 reasons to use video marketing. As I say, this is being recorded, so I can also send the presentation round if anyone wants to get in touch. I think ultimately consumers do like video because it's easy to digest and it's entertaining and it keeps them engaged. And we in marketing like it because it can potentially give a big return on investment through many different channels. But my advice would be just try and just get started. Don't always try and overthink it. Almost put yourself in the shoes of the consumer or the target audience, and think about every question or concern or decision that they might have, and then address it on camera. And by doing that, you'll then earn more trust. And I think when everything's, we can talk here for hours and hours, but every business, regardless of what they do or sell, it always comes down to trust in a way. And that's something that we always strive towards. As I said, you can, this is being recorded, so I can make this available afterwards as well. And I've just got there my contact details. So if you want to email me, please feel free. It's mike@orchardpr.com. When I'm not juggling the kids and trying to homeschool, but that is lockdown glory for us at the moment. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, please feel free. I'm not sure if the chat thing's working at the moment, but please feel free to email them afterwards, and I'll respond to all of them as well. But just leave you just to finally stay safe, take care. I'll certainly keep washing my hands, and thank you all for joining this webinar, and hopefully we'll all be able to see each other in June in person as well.